Hello, and welcome to session 3 of our Mummy the Curse 2nd edition Chronicle, Oceans of Eternity. I am your storyteller for today, and I am joined by some of my friends. We have Chronic Monster here, who is playing Seshet. We also have Prez playing Tamos. And we have Zavlus playing Nesret. And for those of you that are just joining us for the first time, we'll do a little recap here. Or for those who maybe are a little forgotten some things since the last week, let's rewind the clock. Let's pull back the stream of time and check on where we were the last time. So, the star Sophis had reached its peak, and our mummies, Seshet, Tamos, and Nesret, arose from their deathless slumber, only to find themselves trapped within a prison tomb. The trio had managed to escape, only to find themselves stranded on a small, rocky island. They gazed at the skyline of a great city upon a distant shore, as boats with countless oars and billowing sails braved the turbulent waters between them. Only one lonely soul laid claim to this island, an older man who lived in a series of ramshackle huts upon the isle. Not wishing to scare the man, Seshet went to speak with him alone, while Tamos and Nesret were left to their own devices. Seshet discovered the man was a priest by the name of John Vatatzes, and John had revealed that he had come to this island after receiving a vision from God to build a place of worship here. He started by building a cistern, digging it out of the earth, but the earth had settled and cracked after his excavation, and the water leaked into the rock beneath. Seshet realized that John's excavation had unwittingly weakened the magic that had trapped them within their tomb prison, and she informed him of this. John, confused by her strange arrival on this island and her bizarre tale, asked for the truth, and Seshet channeled the power of her pillars to bolster her presence to preternatural levels. And John was awed by her supernatural presence, and mistook Seshet for some sort of saint or angel sent to aid him in his quest, and began to pray at her feet. Meanwhile, Tamos mystically sensed that one of his inheritors, a cultist entrusted with a piece of his soul, was still alive. He could tell by the bond they shared that the inheritor was in bad condition and that he was on a nearby island. Tamos then drew upon the guild secrets of the Markep to borrow the inheritor's senses. Tamos saw that his inheritor sat within an ancient fortress and used the same magic to speak with him telepathically. His inheritor, Vitalius Zemixes, was shocked to hear his master's voice within his mind. Tamos asked Vitalius to explain the situation they had all found themselves in. Vitalius revealed that Tamos had last awoken in Constantinople nearly 10 years ago. Back then, a riot had broken out of the Hippodrome and spiraled out of control, killing tens of thousands and setting half the city ablaze. In the chaos and confusion, enemies struck at Tamos's cult and tomb, and the few who survived could not locate their arisen patron. The remnants of the cult went into hiding and eventually disbanded. Things had been quiet until a month ago, when Vitalius received a mysterious letter from another cultist hoping to meet. The meeting was a trap, however, and Vitalius was kidnapped and imprisoned. Tamos promised Vitalius that he would rescue him once he found a means to escape the island. Nesret was left to his own devices and decided to examine some nearby ruins, Walking among the crumbling walls and cracked foundations, Nesret recognized the ruined settlement as Roman in origin, which triggered a memory. Nesret recalled marveling at the architectural works of its capital, Rome, and learning the secrets of Roman concrete. He remembered planning to construct an eternal monument to the judges, using Roman materials and Remite designs, but he could not recall what he had built, nor where. Nesret dug through the ruins, hoping to spark another memory, but found only a children's doll, devoid of any apparent significance to him. While basking in the reverence of Father John's prayers, Sechet devised a means off the island. She called upon the utterance, dreams of dead gods, and bid fate to invade the minds of sailors, assaulting them with haunting dreams and prophetic visions leading them to the island. Sechet informed the others of the escape plan, and sat to meditate upon her pillars while she waited for fate to work its wonders. Hoping to stir more recollections, Nesret took Thamos to the ruins of the Roman settlement, and while Nesret was unsuccessful in unlocking anything further, the sight of the children's doll sparked a flashback in Thamos. He recalled a bittersweet memory of a young girl dancing with her doll in the setting sun, but he could not recall the girl's face or name or her relation to him. And after waiting for a few hours, a merchant vessel approached the island. The captain, Bacchus Diogenes, offered the stranded islanders a ride to Constantinople. Thamos revealed to his fellow Arisen that his inheritor was imprisoned on another nearby island. Nesret offered to aid Thamos in his mission, while Sechet declined. Sechet, accompanied by a reverend Father John, then convinced the sailors to drop the pair of mummies off on this nearby island, while the two of them continued towards the great port of Constantinople, where she was recognized by a local official. But before we resolve that matter, let us return to the island of Antigone, where Thamos and Nesret have made landfall in their search for the cultist and inheritor of Italians. So, the two of you are kind of, shall we say, rather unceremoniously jump off of this vessel, as the waters around the beach are perhaps a bit too shallow for this merchant vessel to take you all the way to its sandy shores. So, wrapped in the robes taken from Father John, the two of you now find yourselves waist deep in the Sea of Marmara, close enough to the shore of Antigone. You recalled that Captain Bacchus had mentioned the island was named after Antigonus, the father of Demetrius I of Macedon, one of the Diadochi of Alexander the Great, who had constructed a fortress here. And as the two of you dredge your way up onto the beach proper, the salt water kind of dripping heavily off your now thoroughly soaked robes, you see that the fort that Demetrius had constructed still stands quite prominently atop the island's central hill, albeit in rough shape. From here on the beach, you can see that there's an overgrown path leading to the main gate of the fort. There's a low kind of stone wall that rings around the main structure. The fort itself is roughly rectangular, with a tower atop one end, no doubt providing an ample view of the island and the sea surrounding it. And as you take your first steps upon the beach here, what do the two of you do? What words do you share? What plans do you devise as you spy this citadel upon the hill?
Perhaps we should, um, perhaps we should move in stealthily and get a better view of who might be manning this citadel.
I'll let you lead the way.
All right.
Right. Why don't you give me, we'll say, a dexterity and stealth as you attempt to find cover as you work your way up the path to get a better view of the fortress.
Oh man.
Right. Let's see here. So that is one success on 5 dice for Tomos, and 2 successes of Srout. So the 2 of you kind of make your stealthy approach to the island, getting a bit closer, a bit of a better view from the hill as opposed to the lowland of the beach. And why don't you guys give me, say, a wits and composure, so perception check to spy on the building, or perhaps an intelligence and academics or crafts to get a better understanding of, shall we say, the architecture, the structural soundness and makeup. You have a single success on that perception for Tomos, and it looks like Nesret is examining the structure. Ooh, with a whopping 10 dice, but a single success. That's all it is. So 2 of you, study the structure. You watch the walls and the towers, spying it for any signs of life, any signs of activities, and Nesret, you are examining for weak points, trying to ascertain what you can about the structure itself. So, with those rolls, we'll say we'll start with spying the structure here. You take some time and scan for enemies, and amongst your time here, spot at least 4 guards walking the walls and poking out of the towers. But given the structure itself, you wager they might possibly be more within the fortress itself. But at least from the brief time that you've been spying, that's what you've noticed. And from that as well, it seems the ones walking the walls are armed with spears and are dressed with a rather simple chain mail shirt and a helmet covering their head, kind of overlain over a rather drab tunic. The guard in the tower, however, from what you notice, they seem to be equipped with a composite bow of some kind, quiver, arrows. Meanwhile, Nesret, our local architect, our guild member of the Teth Abi, you You judge this structure, you examine it, and admittedly, for something as old as it is claimed to be, it's in relatively decent shape considering its age. The stonework is impressive, consisting of carefully cut ashlar blocks. You wager it's probably a wise decision they made, considering a wood or mud brick fort would not have lasted long against the briny wind and waves of the sea. You estimate the fortress is perhaps 2 stories tall, while the tower reaches to a grander height of nearly 4 stories. And more than that, you reckon that the decay of the structure, it's clearly been neglected for centuries. Those occupying this fort seem to be new arrivals, as likely hasn't been continuously inhabited since its construction. Knowing all that, what do you
Do you have any idea where they are in the building?
There's at least 4 that I can see right now. A few of them are armed with spears. One in the tower seems to be armed with a composite bow. So, if we surprise the ones in close quarters, he might have a clear shot at us. Something to consider, at least.
And to answer Nesret's question, as to sensing, indeed, your affinity, the nexus of the soul, gives you almost, I don't want to quite say pinpoint, but a very precise sense of their location. And it seems your inheritor is likely being held within the main fortress itself, though not within the upper reaches of the towers, or somewhere on the main level of the structure.
I wonder if there might be a hole in the back we can find, or along a wall, or maybe some way to climb up a little easier.
And I should mention the wall is fairly low. It's clearly not something, shall we say, it's clearly something that you could climb, though given the openness of the court, and the height, the vantage point of the tower, it's not, shall we say, necessarily the stealthiest approach, but one could conceivably hop the lower wall at any point along it.
Here. So we have a building, right? And a wall.
Yes, so we have kind of rectangular fort, as it were, with a lone tower sticking out of it, and encircling, shall we say, is kind of a low stone wall that kind of wraps around the hillside, as it were. And there is one, shall we say, main gate leading into the structure, but it's hardly, I would say, an obstacle for a determined attacker. It seems the fortification, that the wall is, I should say, more of an effort to, say, slow any assailants.
Okay. They had like a watchtower.
Yes.
Somewhere?
So the fortress itself is kind of highlighted by this lone tower jutting out structure. A watchtower, I might say. Presumably given its place on top of the hill with this rather tall tower. It would likely give a rather panoramic view of both the island and the sea surrounding it.
I may have an idea. Perhaps a way I can test out some powers of mine. An utterance I know that might take care of the guards, or at the very least cause a commotion and allow us to sneak in.
Sounds good to me.
Rite of the Sacred Scarab. Tier 3.
Oh boy. Feel like unleashing a plague of insects, as it were. So what's your plan here? Just
You said I could see 4. 3 of them, were the outside, and then one's in the watchtower, right?
correct. 3 kind of walking the premises, idling about, and at least one within the watchtower.
Yeah, so I can see. I was thinking of sending the scarabs. I guess my question is, can it attack more than one person at a time? Or are they only able to be directed towards one person at a time?
It can be directed, I believe, however you like. The question of whether it can target more than one person is, shall we say, a factor of how closely clustered those people are together. Your swarm occupies an area, as it were.
Perhaps... Nessra, do you know any utterances that could perhaps draw their attention to one little spot?
Oh, I have a couple options.
What do you know?
I'm trying to remember what they are off. To be honest, I'm drawing a blank on what all my powers do right now. But let's see here. Let me check my Wrathful Desert power.
It doesn't need to necessarily be extremely powerful, just...
I imagine regardless, scarabs will probably provoke some sort of commotion, shall we say.
I guess that's true.
I imagine imagine most
Perhaps
people
maybe I
won't.
get one.
Yeah, you might be able to get them. I should say, you could most definitely lure them to one location, but you perhaps doubt that they would stay in that same location for long. Most people assaulted with flesh-eating insects do not, shall we say, wish to continue being eaten. They very well might flee, given such an unholy plague cast upon them. Though, given that you control that swarm, you can most certainly sick them wherever your heart desires.
Well then, I guess for now.
I do, they would see us. Well, 10 yards. How big is this?
How big is what?
And yeah, in feet or yards. I guess like Let's say the building.
So the building itself. It's not a particularly large structure. If I had to guess, we'll say it's maybe about 15 by 15 meters, or about 50 by 50 feet, roughly.
Oh. That's all.
A small,
does your
small little fortress surrounding this watchtower.
Do you think we can carry your friend out?
Perhaps.
I mean, the both of you are bristling with Saham.
You know. Oh, here, I'll copy and paste what this does in here. What if we tag team this? Beatles and this.
Y'all are just planning to like unleash the plagues on these poor unsuspecting guards.
Oh, I'm holding up. I'm down for this.
Let's do this.
These poor guys
guards.
stationed on a fort in like the middle of the fucking sea. Like,
Yeah,
they're just taking this job for like a little bit of cash, to, like send back to the family across the ocean and whatnot. And then suddenly, two horrible mummies come along and just unleash the apocalypse on them.
Well, they should not have taken my inheritor then.
It kind of seems like their problem.
all right.
They locked us away.
So, discuss. Tell me, what are the two of you planning? What words do you share amongst yourselves as you hatch this scheme of yours?
I want them to see the Beatles first, but shortly after. Then I will blind them all.
So why don't you guys describe to everyone, you know, what you're planning, what you're about to unleash on these unsuspecting guards.
So, do you want me to unleash my utterance first? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think it would be more interesting for dramatic effect.
All right. I guess I'll unleash mine. And I guess once they go after the guards, you know, just closest one, try and destroy him. I'll let you take over from there. Yeah. That scene from the Mummy.
Yes. So, Tamos, you unleash your affinity, or not affinity, utterance. Excuse me. And with that, a truly horrific sight unfolds as you speak the ancient, the forbidden words of the rite of the sacred scarab, and as your soul issues forth this utterance, Nesret, you can see like Tamos like unhinging his jaw, and just this torrent of ravenous beetles just comes pouring out of his mouth, each of them bejeweled and beautiful, but possessed of a furious hunger. And the swarm just kind of erupts out of Tamos, like seemingly just generating out of some dark and foreboding void within him. Just more and more of these creatures, like a great cloud of black and glittering gold, and your senses are immediately overtaken with the great droning, the great buzzing of this beautiful and terrible cloud of scarabs. And as they, amass before you and kind of come together, almost this, almost like a hive mind between them, the cloud of them kind of shifting and moving. They await your commands, Thomas. What do you bid your cloud of hungry scarabs to do? Where do you sick them?
I command you to go to the nearest guard, strip him of his flesh, and then do to the same to the next one you see.
And with that, the cloud moves, this great billowing black mass undulating. It wavers through the sky, floating towards the fort, towards the main gate, and the poor unfortunate soul that stands at attention. And it doesn't take long for you to hear the first of the screams as the beetles begin to tear into the flesh of this poor soldier. And as you hear these screams, these terrible cries of pain, what do the two of you do as the symphony of suffering commences?
I chuckle on, so maybe you should let your guy know we're on our way. And then I blow out a cloud of smoke covering the whole area for approximately a 90-yard radius. The rest of the scene in a thick, murky fog of smoke.
Yes.
Flame. And all the mortals, they're blind. And I kind of know where they are. It's like a extended limbs, but it doesn't affect Arisen.
Yes. So you call upon your utterance as well. The revelations of smoke and flame, and indeed, this cloying smoke, sweet with the scent of incense, comes out of you like this great thick and murky cloud. And as the screams begin, and you can hear kind of the rustling, the jingling of chain as others come out to the commotion, they are met with this great wall, as it were, of smoke that kind of slowly roils over this fortress and envelops it in this inky, almost palatable darkness. You can feel this smoke as it clings to their skin and blots out their eyes. And indeed, you are not affected by this miasma. And in fact, it's this extension of your being, and as it kind of rolls over and kind of subsumes the fortification in your smoke, you become aware of the others as they move through its darkness, albeit slower now, taking sort of more tentative, cautious steps as they attempt to figure out just what is going on. They continue to hear this man scream bloody murder as he kind of wallows in the dark, trying in vain to fight off this mass of scarabs as they peck and bite into his flesh. And indeed, you hear the other guards, kind of calling out to each other, trying to figure out what's going on. There's confusion, there's chaos. And in confusion and chaos is opportunity, of course. What do the two of you do with that opportunity?
Let's move, because
Yeah, let's move through
I'll
the
help
fog.
us. Yeah, and I'll avoid everyone.
I will too. I may direct my I think I will direct my horde now to any guards near the door.
All right. So the two of you move in a beautiful tandem motion as Nesret's tactile perception guides the two of you through the inky darkness, while Tamos's mystical sense to his inheritor guides you in this strange game of hot and cold as you move through this, and you continue to hear new beautiful screams as the swarm moves from one to another, and it's a rather trivial manner, shall we say, to avoid them in the darkness that you have cast over this fortification. And you make your way quite handily into the fort. And inside you see see is a bit of a misnomer, given the darkness a certain someone has cast in and throughout this fortress. But your tactile perception extends Nesret as the smoke billows into the structure itself, filling it as well. And you, of course, are unhindered by this. And what you see, what you sense in this darkness is a makeshift prison of sorts. Within are a number of cells, and you distinctly detect two individuals within these cells, as well as one individual that seems to be situated in the center of this fortification, of the main chamber here. And you sense this figure in the center is armed and armored as well. You can feel the swish as the man slices a sword against the darkness, trying, in vain to gauge some sort of perception of where he is and what is occurring. And Thomas, you sense that your inheritor is upon you. He is one of these unfortunates contained in one of these cells. As the two of you kind of look on, and as this man kind of stumbles about vainly in the dark, what do the two of you do?
So with my smoke, I can utilize it to move, push, manipulate objects.
Indeed.
Could I do some kind of strength test paired with my demolisher to try to destroy the locks on. You know what? Just all of the doors.
Yeah.
Have a prison break.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty darn good idea. Why don't you go ahead and give me let's roll your I believe it's your shoot pillar for this action, and we'll let you apply your demolisher merit as well.
And then I would like to use a willpower. That's a +3, right?
Plus 3, yes.
Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. And then my. Oh, this is not. Ah. Okay. I'll just do a +6. Oh. And then here we go. Oh, I rolled a 0. There's supposed to be 2 more dice there. Ah, that select my. It didn't seem to select my trait.
Looks like it rolled
2D.
6 dice. Is that what you were intending?
I did I had willpower and demolisher, which would be 6. I had selected shoot, but it didn't seem to add it to the roll. It was 0 successes extra.
Alright.
Maybe they're weak locks.
Well, two successes on that, and with your demolisher merit, I believe that lets you ignore the durability of the object. How many dots do you have in the merit again?
3.
3 dots. Okay, so you kind of reach out with these inky tendrils of smoke, of liquid night, as it were, and firmly grasp the bars of these cells. And luckily enough for you, they are not the sturdiest of materials. And with a bit of effort, your coils wrap around these bars, and you pull them taut. And with one great motion, as if you had them, wrapped around your fingers, you pull these threads, and you hear the groaning of stone as these bars are pried out of their sockets and clatter quite spectacularly loud onto the stone floor. And you hear the man in the chamber shout. He's like, "Stay where you are!" And he kind of he begins to fumble about. And Nesret, with your senses, you notice he stumbles towards a little alcove in the main room here, and you watch as he grabs a torch from a stockpile, pile of supplies, and feebly tries to light this thing in the dark. As you're watching him, you struggle with this. You've pried the bars off of these cells. What do the two of you do?
We must go collect my inheritor, and perhaps this guard can be of some use. Let me try to restrain him. If you could kindly go to my inheritor and tell him you were with me, I think we should be able to get him out of here safely. If the guard proves to be too much trouble, well, my scarabs are very effective, as you've seen.
And they are being very effective outside. You can still hear the muffled screams as the guards outside run
I wish
blind.
to see if this guard. I wish to see if this guard knows anything.
Very well.
What's your inheritor's name? What I
Vitalis.
say?
Vitalis.
Tell him you're with Tom O'Steele Wind. You are an Arisen, aligned with me.
I'll allow you to go first so you can have the element of surprise.
Yeah, you might want
And I will make my
to
way
jump
towards-
the guy before you start announcing.
Yeah, I'm gonna make
your
my way
presence.
I'm gonna make my way towards the guard, and then I will grapple him, get him in a chokehold.
All right. Why don't you give me either? I think you have fighting finesse, correct?
I do.
So that'd
I do.
be dexterity and brawl, and that'll be against his defense. And technically, the both of you are blind. I believe. So that should cancel out between the two of you. But
It only inflicts blinded tilts on characters other than Arisen or lifeless.
oh.
Yeah, there's a
I
reason I
can
picked
see.
this specifically.
I miss.
I thought
I can
thought about
see.
doing Desert Storm, but I thought it might damage him too.
I
well,
see.
no.
Okay, I had that wrong. So yes, correction. So you, yes, on characters other than Arisen and Lifeless. So yes, both of you can see. But it is Nesret that has the extrasensory.
Oh, well, I know the tactile stuff.
I can't remember the word for the tactile sensation. But regardless. Proprioception. That was the word I was thinking of. But nonetheless, he would be blind given this, or he has the blinded tilt. So I believe that implies a bit of a disadvantage to our guard here. Blinded. Let's see here. Suffers a -3 penalty to any rolls that rely on vision, or increased to -5, and a loss of all defense if both eyes are affected. So, considering that both of his eyes are most definitely affected, he doesn't have any defense. He can't see you coming as you reach out for this man. So go ahead and give me your dexterity and brawl as you go to restrain.
I would also like to spend willpower to add an extra die.
By all means.
3 die.
Yeah, an extra 3.
Yeah, 3. If I did this wrong, let me know.
Alright, so dexterity, roll on 3, that looks like that's correct. For 3 successes. So, indeed, you manage to establish the grapple with this guard, and as he's kind of like fiddling with this torch, trying to to light it, to illuminate this chamber, you come up from behind him and you wrap your arms around him, attempting to restrain him. And indeed, this poor guard does not go willingly into the night as he feels strange arms clasp him, strange, cold, dead hands. So, going to the next, shall we say, round here. Why don't you give me another dexterity and brawl, which will be opposed by his brawl as well.
Does the fact that I have a grappling specialty affect this up as well?
Yes, if you have a specialty in grappling, that would absolutely be the situation where you would apply that specialty die.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, shoot. One sec. Okay, I had to reload that.
Oh no, you're fine.
All right, here we go.
I'll roll for our guard here.
See, brawl dex.
And technically, he is still blinded, so there's a nice solid penalty for him as well. Negative 5. So I would assume grappling would rely on vision somewhat.
So, all right. Here we go.
Alright. 3 successes you've gotten on your dice against his singular success. So you get the upper hand on him. So what now you're intending to restrain him? Is that what I'm getting? You're trying to like essentially tie him up and like get him out of here?
Yeah.
What's your goal here?
Well, if there's anything to restrain him with, I will try to do that, whether that's rope or any chains nearby or whatever. But if not, I may just simply chokehold him into unconsciousness and then just drag him out.
He certainly would be more quiet that way. But that's up to you.
I guess I'll do the second option.
I did mention that he was, kind of standing over this stockpile of supplies, and there would probably be some rope or other material there.
I think I'll choke him out anyway, but after he's unconscious, I'll just tie him up just for later purposes.
All right. So in this case, you deal 3 points of bashing damage as your hands work their way around his throat, and he too begins to kind of grasp and claw at your thin, bony fingers, and it's rather hard to get purchase with your with those cold, dead hands of yours, and you slowly begin to squeeze the life out of him. Why don't you give me another roll as your hands tighten, your fingers twist and writhe, as you wait for this man's
just go to
just
sleep already.
Sleep. As you slowly
Shut up already.
Anything like the ballad said they would be.
Yes. There is an affinity for this, mind you. I believe it's like grip or grasp of death is good for this exact
now
situation.
You tell me.
Yes. And in fact, it supernaturally silences any that you are grappling, so they don't make any uncomfortable noises while they are struggling, as this guard is doing now. But why don't you give me your next roll here?
I'm gonna need to learn this affinity.
Make it just a little easier to choke people out. A single success against his 0. So again, bit by bit, piece by piece, you've done 4 bashing damage to him. He begins the clawing starts to grow a little less strong. There's a little less resistance as you continue, but this is a very uncomfortable act as you're just sitting there, and this is taking longer than you hoped. This is a slow and agonizing approach as he's slowly losing his grip on life, and you feel
for the record, I'm not trying to kill him. I'm
yes,
just trying to get him to drop.
Yes.
I say that because
yes, I understand. Shall we say your intent? Though from his perspective, he's most likely not aware of that, and struggling as if you were intending to kill him.
Killing him.
And there is a very fine line when choking someone between unconsciousness and death.
True.
But the method you reach those conclusions is the same. One just a bit longer than the other. Why don't you give me another roll?
If you want to speed it up, you can spend a pillar point to reinforce your physical attributes.
I might as well spend a point
It's true.
I might as well spend a point of Ba then.
What attribute are you reinforcing there?
I would imagine dexterity for
Brawl.
No, it's an attribute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Dexterity. Same difference.
All
So,
right. So at your beautiful second rating,
It's +4.
it is a +4 bonus.
+4, eh? Got it.
And 2 successes on that against 0 for him. And after this slow kind of like agonizing event, you come to the full realization that you are sitting here and you are slowly squeezing the life out of this guard. And perhaps I don't know, does this make you uncomfortable as you sit here and
No.
almost choked the life out of this man? Like, how does this feel for Tomos? Is this like, does this ring any bells for you, or is this like, God, why am I doing this? Like, what's going on in your head as
this is a means to an end to him. I mean, he's done. I mean, I know his memory's not all there, but he knows he's done unsavory things. But he knows it's all for. The way he sees it, it's all to completing the goal of his judge, and most importantly, he's setting himself up so he can complete those goals. This guard might have knowledge. He needs this guard to interrogate, and I don't know. He's not bothered by it. He's just more annoyed. It's taking forever.
So less of a concern and more of an annoyance. Well,
he's already angry with all the people involved with putting his inheritor in jail. So he feels nothing right now.
Fair.
Besides anger.
And that anger serves you well as you squeeze the last vestiges of resistance out of this guard. And slowly but surely he goes slack in your hands. Choke the last bit of consciousness out from him. He goes limp in your hands. What do the two of you do?
Well, I'm binding him with what I can.
While he's doing that, every cell I detect a presence in, I will simply ask if they are Vitalius.
I'm Vitalius.
You-
Just a minute. Sorry.
You You hear two responses. So there was two people within these cells. The first is a woman's voice, and she lets out a rather meek, sort of a who are you? Who's there? And a much more, shall I say, confident response from the man in the adjacent cell. Although a bit, shall we say, confused, the man nonetheless reveals that, yes, I am Vitalius.
Your master and I have come to retrieve you.
It is appreciated greatly. And who am I addressing?
Oh, I should have given myself a title. Oh, oh wait.
Remembering something.
Like you hear like this cultist Vitalius, like he starts to stumble as he's like, oh, like am I speaking to another cultist? Am I speaking to like a fellow Arisen or another Arisen? Like he doesn't quite know who he's being addressed by, and you hear that kind of like stumbling in his voice of like, oh shit, like am I being too like informal with someone like way above my rank? And there's that sort of hesitation and fear in his voice.
I'll call myself Nesret, the Fury of Flame.
Fury of Flame.
There.
And the with the announcement of your name, of your title, there's an abrupt shift in demeanor from Vitalius. He was starting to kind of right himself, slowly, kind of trying to rise to his feet, and you name drop yourself and your title, and that like changes on a dime, and Vitalius like drops back to his knees, and Vitalius, not even looking like at you, like his gaze is at the cold stone floor at his feet, a subservient individual. Vitalius simply proclaims, "What would you have me do, O deathless one?"
Oh, Thomas the Owen would be proud. I think it's best you assist him. And then I will. Oh, he's blinded, isn't he?
He is, yes. There's still that thick cloud of smoke that is filling this fortress.
I'll stay close. You will be coming with us. And I will also I will also ask about this other prisoner.
Yes, the woman.
Why are they here?
So
who is she and why is she here?
so you ask those questions of the woman, and you get there's a bit of a pause, given the conversation immediately prior. There's these titles being dropped, and this other individual, this woman, after a moment, She kind of tries to right herself in the dark. She stands up and kind of braces herself against the wall of her now opened cell, and kind of looking in the general direction of where your voices are coming from. The woman mentions that I was taken. I was captured.
For no reason?
And there's another pause. Words being considered. And the woman says, I was curious. I ventured too close. I wanted to see what was going on up here. Why don't you give me a wits and empathy roll, or perhaps a whips and subterfuge.
I don't have any, so that would be I click it. Hopefully that does my -1. I got a success.
All right, a singular success. So, with that, you you get an inkling, a hint that this woman seems to be telling the truth, but you surmise there's probably more to this story. There's more that's being let on. But in the dark here, as Tomos is restraining this unconscious guard, wrapping him up, what do you do? Do you press this woman further, or how do you grapple with this recollection that there's more to this?
I just think this is an opportunity. I guess I would try to think of the best way to do it. I guess I want to I guess maybe I'll brag a little bit. I'll talk about my you've witnessed my power, and I have freed you from your cage, and would I will help you out of here if you agree to follow me. I'll grant you your freedom if you become my follower.
The woman kind of considers your offer, and gazing at you in the dark, she says, What other choice do I have? How do you respond to that?
Chuckle a little bit.
Something freedom's never free.
Stay close and I'll keep you safe. And you know what? I roughly know where she is. I will stretch out a hand. Well, I guess like an arm for her to grab onto. I'm sure she's not gonna want to touch my hand.
You want to kind of like nudge her along with your shadow like tendrils, just kind of like push her, or are you actually like extending your hand out to her?
You know what?
in his hand.
Maybe like a little of both.
If
Because
she isn't
like, kinda
suffering
like-
from Sybaris now, she sure will be.
yes, because
Kind of
that
like
is that is something that is something to consider. The aside from exposure to utterances,
Oh.
the act of physical contact with your dead flesh can also aggravate Sybaris. The sickness, as they call it, this supernatural malady that kind of radiates from the foul necromantic energies that animate each of you. And it can be a blessing and a curse. And sometimes a cudgel. Sometimes the easiest way to force someone into your service is to cow them, to awe them with Sybaris, to expose them to all the unholy terrors that you are privy to, and offer them an escape, a solution, absolution from those nightmares through service to you. A classic method of recruitment, if a bit harsh, perhaps. Is that something that you're interested in, Nesrat?
Would I be aware that I would have this effect on her?
Yes, you would be aware of the effect that you have on people, both your unfiltered presence and the might of your magic. You know instinctively that these things, given enough exposure, can drive people to terrible bouts of madness and mania.
You know what? I think I want to try to be nice first. So since I have a lot of control over this, right?
It's not something you have a great
black ink?
deal. Oh no, the ink.
Well,
Yes,
like,
yes,
the ink itself.
yes. Over the ink, yeah.
Could I like maybe like disperse, like make it like weaker in front of her, where maybe she could see me as kind of like, like show her the way, so to speak, to see if she follows.
Yeah, I mean you have like control over it. I think that's reasonable.
I want to
say.
offer that first. Yeah, I just kind of want to like.
Yeah, you clear out.
I'll
like,
give her
a little bubble. Give her, give her some of her sight back. And you do you peel back the veil, as it were, and the two of you, as well as Batalius, can all see each other. And the woman looks on at you, and it's still a bit, shall we say, difficult to see. It's not as if it's suddenly brightly lit, but enough, shall we say, light is pulled through.
I am wearing holy robes.
Yes, you bear the robes of a priest, although they're quite damp, probably kind of clinging to your withered flesh, and shall we say some rather unsightly ways. And I imagine you probably have the hood of the cloak kind of pulled down as best you can, trying to obscure yourself. And the woman looks on at you, this mysterious figure in the smoke, and she is not cowed as you open the way for her, and her eyes finally meet yours, or I should say what's left of your eyes, those shrunken little sockets in your skull. There's not so much terror or fear in her eyes, but a curiosity and a surprising degree of fearlessness for someone situation such as this. What you do?
Well, I guess I'll welcome her. And we're like, we will be heading out soon. Let's, let me introduce you to Thomas. And, I'll try to help Vitalius too.
Yeah, and you know, maybe give him a bit of
Doing
a
what I
hand.
can to give him what they can see.
Yeah. So the lot of you kind of reconvene. You have Nesret with these two in tow, and Tomos has this guard now, quite unconscious and thoroughly restrained. What do the two of you do now? Do you or is there anything else that you wish to do here? Or is this your cue to skedaddle, as it were?
I would like to take the guard's sword, or if he has a dagger on him, that'd be even better. But I'll take both regardless if he has both. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. You strip him of his weapons, and indeed, on his person, he, at least from his weapons, he has a sword.
We are Vitalius too,
A sword and a dagger
by chance.
on his person, and a shield, should you deign to take that. Though,
Sure, why not?
would you have bothered to strip him of his armor before restraining him, or would you have left that on?
I think I'd strip the armor. I wouldn't take it, but I'd get it off. So
It off of him. Okay. So you do that. And again, he has the shield, the sword, the dagger. You disarm him and disarmor him, and find him pretty thoroughly restrained. And Nesret, you have these two in tow.
I will ask him if they have any remaining business here.
Yes. The woman. She mentions there's a quiet place towards the south of the island. There's an old temple there. Your friend is in rather, well, poor condition, and she looks pretty fine, but these guards have clearly beaten Vitalius. He's not in good shape, and he's, shall we say, he's walking, but it's a bit of a struggle for him. Aside from this quiet little temple that the woman mentions, you do recall seeing a small little dock on this island with a ship moored to it. Should you wish to head in that direction.
Let's head towards the temple. If there's no aversions.
I believe our utterances should keep these guards busy for a long time.
Long enough, shall we say.
Long enough for us to leave unnoticed.
My utterance stays attached to me. Can I? But I can. It says that I can attach it to an object. So you know what? Can I attach it to the torch? As we make our exit.
Ironic. but sure. You detach this inky darkness from yourself and center it on this torch in the middle of the structure. And with that, the lot of you make your escape from the building. Now, how would you guys just kind of walk out the way that you came, just stroll through through the main gate as
I mean, I don't see why not, right?
yeah. So you make your way out the way that you
It's a real power play, to be honest.
had. Stroll in there, striding proud, and walking out the way that you came. And the situation has, shall we say, improved somewhat outside. The screaming has gone quiet. The remaining guards either unconscious or dead, or fled into fled past the walls and out of the fortress. You're greeted with a nice quiet exit as you make your way outside of this fortress and to this temple. And it doesn't take you too terribly long to get there. The island's is significantly larger than the one that you came from, but relatively speaking, it's still fairly small. Perhaps a mile or so across. But nonetheless, you make your way over there. And as you're walking there, into your new additions, you have some time to chat along the way there. And the woman that you've taken under your wing, as it were, she's been fairly silent for most of this time, but she's kind of first to break the silence, as it were. Vitalius is not one to speak unless spoken to, but this woman, she doesn't know of these conventions that you have, these formalities and hierarchies. And she kind of breaks the ice. And as you're walking, she looks at you, Nesret, and she says, I'm Minervina.
Minervina.
And
I got a place to take notes.
And you
Okay.
said your name was Nesret.
That is correct.
Where is that from? That sounds foreign to me.
I come from Egypt. Oh wait, no, it's a Rem, right? I'm sorry. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
we
If
might around.
yes. Well, modern day, say. But
Well, technically it's the Roman Empire now, but whatever.
yes. Well, the Romans were the first to call it Egypt, I believe. But nonetheless, or maybe it was the Greeks. Regardless, in this case, Minervina. She kind of pushes you on that a bit further. It's this a ram. She's like, I've never heard of such a place. Admittedly, I'm not the most well-traveled or well-versed, but where is this Irem that you speak of?
So, do I have an idea of where I am in the world? Or how well do I know my position in relation to...
Sounds like an academics
That
role with
sounds-
specialty in geography.
Yeah, that sounds like a intelligence academics role. Let's see how well you know your geography.
Fairly, really well.
Yeah, 4 successes. You're pretty well versed, pretty well studied. So you have a pretty firm grasp of where you're at. So in this case, you are accustomed, shall we say, with the words, with the general locations. You know that you now find yourselves an island not far from Constantinople. You know that Irem, to the best of your knowledge, no one truly knows where it lies, but somewhere, or yes, where it did lie. You know it is somewhere to the south in the deserts that are now called Egypt.
I'll tell her where, and you know what, I'll tell a little bit about what Irem was like. Kind of like talk it up in a positive manner. You know, like.
Do you actually
plus
remember
words.
anything about Irem?
Yeah, that sounds like a memory roll. Like, do you actually remember anything about Irem?
Remember any of this junk?
What do you recall?
no
let's
idea.
let's roll your memory. Let's see what you can jog.
Oh, there's not a simple one for that. Okay, so 3D 10.
One success.
A single success. So you think back about Irem, what bits and pieces that you can recall, and there's frighteningly little, in all honesty. You remember your crafts, you remember, the magic of your guild. You remember that Irem was great, but what your life was in Irem, the culture, eludes you for the most part. But there is something that you do recall, something that did impress on you, was the architecture. It was a city of pillars, of these magnificent columns, the spines of Azar, as they were, jutting up, stretching towards the sky itself. You remember these great and towering pillars, looming even over the buildings of Arena itself, though the skyline is just this blurry haze in your mind. But you remember the pillars, how high they reached, up almost into the heavens themselves. So it seemed to you.
I'll embellish that a little bit, and but I'll also mention it's been a long time since I've been home.
And with that, a makeshift tale of the two of you arrive in this temple. And it is a rather sad sight. It's beyond casual wear and tear. This temple has been defaced, it's been destroyed, though remains in some fashion. The roof has partially collapsed, and one of the great columns that adorns the front of this temple has been knocked over. It lies in these large stone pieces, half buried in the dirt. And gazing inside into the central chamber, as it were, it's clear that the temple has been vandalized. The votive offerings stripped from the walls. Someone's even taken chisels to the relief carvings that adorn the walls. Only those that decorate the frieze and the pediment strips around the top of this crumbling Greek temple remain too tall for the average vandal to easily deface. And a rather solemn Minervina walks inside, carefully stepping around the rubble. And she stops before an altar, one that's been smashed to pieces, perhaps with a hammer or some sort of bludgeon. And before that is a statue. This work of marble has been defaced, quite literally. Someone has chiseled off this figure's nose and has etched a cross into the forehead of this seemingly what you presume to be some sort of deific effigy or representation. And as you sit in the solemn, destroyed sort of this Greek temple, and Minervina kind of looks about and she's a bit dismayed. But that feeling kind of quickly fades as she turns her attention towards the two of you. And again, without any comprehension of who the lot of you are, she looks at the three of you and the unconscious body that you have dragging behind you. She just says, "Well, either of you care to explain what's going on here?"
Thomas would look to Neshret, kind of giving him a look like, should we tell her everything?
Oh.
I mean, it's no bother to him, but since Neshret's, taken an interest in this person, maybe, I guess Thomas would like to see what Neshret wants to do. If we just dump it on them now, or, try to smooth the process, I guess.
She seems familiar with this place, right?
Yeah, she was the one that suggested it.
Uh, I think we could trade some knowledge. I'll tell you. I guess we could tell you a little bit about us and tell us a little bit about this place. How's that sound?
She kind of looks at you and considers her options. But she's not exactly in a position to argue. Minervina kind of looks at the lot of you and she says, "All right, I suppose I can share. What is it that you want to know?"
Uh, who, the statue seems really important, right?
Yes, it occupies a rather central position in this room, kind of situated before this altar. And speaking of that, why don't you give me another intelligence and academics, see if you recognize any of this.
Oh.
All
Right.
right.
It's tempting me there.
Four
So
successes.
close to the exceptional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 4
Almost.
successes.
4 successes. So you've dabbled in other religions before. You've considered, shall we say, studied the other faiths of the world in your lifetimes, and this one bears a familiar resemblance to that of the Greek pantheon, and judging from the motifs, shall we say, left on this vandalized temple, you get the implication that this appears to be a temple to Apollo, shall we say, a rather prominent deity of the Greek pantheon. He was a god of archery, of music and dance, of truth and prophecy, healing and diseases, the sun, poetry. They ascribed many things to this god, as those foolish mortals are wont to do. But clearly, judging from all the destruction about that, someone has not taken kindly to this faith. But nonetheless, knowing that, what does Nesret do?
I guess I'll talk a little bit. I guess I'll mention it's like the statue. It must be from the Greek pantheon. This is Hollow, and then it's the god of archery, music, dance. But what is all this vandalism? What does it mean? Who's desecrated this temple?
Well, that would be the church. That of the Christians. They decreed long ago that houses of pagan worship were to be closed, shuttered, or converted to the new faith of the land. But I'm a bit confused. And she looks at your vestments, Nesra. You're wearing a Catholic, or an Orthodox robe. And she says, but you should know that more than anyone.
I'll look down at my robe and I guess I'll see the resemblance to the cross.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you see the cross motifs on your robes and the cross that's been etched into the statue. The pieces are starting to come together. And the pieces are also starting to come together for Minervina, who looks at you with a strange gaze. And she kind of carefully considers her words. And she says, I take it you're not a priest, are you?
No. No. No.
And she seems relieved at that. She lets out a sigh, as you deny that level of allegiance.
So, let's see here. So, you seem to be more you seem to be more of a fan of Hollow, huh?
Apollo.
Apollo, sorry.
No, you're fine.
You're your Greek pantheon. God.
Yeah, come on. But
I'm a very religious guy.
Minervina sort of looks at the statue, and she says, I don't know if I exactly call it a manner of faith, but I was hoping he might be able to help.
Well,
But
I look at Vitalius.
Vitalius, yes.
I mean, oh, maybe if you can help out my friend's follower here. Maybe we can get to know each other a little bit better, and maybe you can help patch him up. I'm not one for medicine, but maybe someone here is.
I'm not the most skilled, but I can tend to his wounds if that's what you need of me. And she kind of walks over to Vitalius, and Vitalius kind of looks at you, Tomos, and kind of awaits your command.
Let her help.
And with that,
Let it be.
relaxes. Minervina does her best to start treating Vitalius. Kind of prop him up against one of the walls of the temple, and as she starts, looking him over and trying to see what she can do and where she can be of assistance. The guard that you have been dragging around, he begins to rouse into a sort of half awake state of consciousness, and slowly begins to come to. What did a lot of you do?
Tamos is going to grab the guard and drag him to the other side of the building to begin interrogation.
You like find a nice little secluded alcove within
He doesn't want his three associates bothered, at least
yes.
not too, too obviously.
Yeah, perform your work in some degree of solitude. So, with that, how do you approach this interrogation as the guard wakes up? How do you handle this? What's your approach here?
Well, I'm going to try to be as intimidating as possible. I'm going to throw him against, well, maybe not throw, but toss him against the wall, be rough, pick him up by the collar and get right up in his face. And
Alright.
tell him and ask him, who do you work for?
Well, that sounds like an intimidation roll to me. And it sounds like you're going for more of like a physical, approach. Kind of muscling this guy around. So why don't we do strength and intimidation, and that will be penalized by our guard's resolve here. Which is a resolve of 3.
Shit. Well, let's see. Let's try this first. Oh! Not bad.
All right.
Oh, you forgot your penalty.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. you've 3 dice to throw.
Let me
there.
just.
So it'd technically be a chance dice. On that. But
Just roll that again.
so yes, it would be a singular dice that you would roll, and on a 10 you'll get a success, unless you want to spend willpower.
Or you want to reinforce your pillars, like your physical.
Not
attribute
right
one.
now. Not right now.
So 0 successes. Perhaps it's not the wisest approach to begin to manhandle the guard before he even gets to a full awareness of what's going on. And as you kind of thrash this guy about, kind of push him up against the wall, he seems more almost delirious than anything, as you demand to know who he works for. And it's not so much a reluctance to speak, but a wave of kind of confusion that washes over this guy as he's in a strange place in front of a person that he doesn't know, and he finds himself restrained, and he's still kind of, say, waking up, as it were. And you don't get much of a productive response other than just some groaning from this man here. But it's up to you how you want to proceed. You can keep going at this if you want, or you could also good cop, bad cop. You do have one other immortal in your entourage here, and if I remember correctly, I do think Nesret is a fairly intimidating fellow, if I remember correctly. As Nesret has the towering presence affinity.
Tag
Or
team this son
You
of a
you
bitch.
could do a teamwork action if you so desire.
Well, I guess I'll call out for Nesseret to come over here. But before I do, I would like to use an affinity.
Okay.
Soul infusion.
Ah. All right. So with
I'll take one of his willpower.
yeah, he's not in a position to resist you. You just siphon off a piece of his willpower and claim it for yourself.
After that's done, I will call out, Nesseret, your assistance is required.
Nesret, what do you do?
You're muted, I'm pretty sure. You're not saying
If you
anything.
speak.
Yeah, I
There
will
we go.
strut in.
So, Nesret, the Fury of the Flame, you strut in there into this interrogation in progress. You see Tomos kind of has this this man up against the wall, as it were. How do you approach this interrogation? What's your angle on this? How do you threaten? Do you cajole him? How do you aim to get this information out of him? How
So
does this...
you've already been a little bit of a bad cop.
Well, play to your strengths. He seems out of it anyway, so honestly, if you'd rather be the
Well, I
bad
could be a
cop
pretty,
here.
I could be a good cop.
bad cop and worse
I could
cop?
be.
Basically. You think I'm bad? Try this guy.
Joke's on you. I'm actually the good cop.
Yeah, that. Oh,
It's all relative, right?
well, it seems you know what? I will come in and I will be worst cop.
So,
Oh, I can't believe you haven't broken his legs yet. You're saving him for me?
If you want to go at him, by all means.
so
you
how
know what?
how do you want to do this? Do you want to rough him up, or are you more one to work with words as opposed to physical threats?
I'm a man of words.
Yeah, why don't you give me say presence and intimidation, the classic like stare down. And it'll be -3 for his resolve.
-3. You know what? I'll use a willpower for my intimidation. Use my last one for now.
And
To
don't
work to get that back.
don't forget that your towering presence adds your Ka rating to intimidation,
Yeah.
which, despite your
Oh.
1 dot in the skill, gives you an effective 5 dots in intimidation.
Oh, I'm really big too, because I would have. Well,
Are you going to activate the extra effect?
what? Nah.
No
I
go big
won't do
mode?
the extra effect. No. It would be fun, but I might need that willpower point.
Fair, fair.
Oh, I forgot to do -3, so it'd only be a +1.
Ooh.
That's that seems fair.
A whopping 0 successes on this intimidation.
I just entered it right the first time.
So the two of you have each, shall we say, had your turn at him, and this time the guard is a bit more cognizant, a bit more lucid, and you kind of stare him down and demand to know, who he's working for. And this time the guard is a bit more begins to harden his resolve. He's like, who are you? Release me at once.
Shall I try again?
If you guys want,
Do I guess?
you can do a teamwork action as well.
Oh, let's do a team.
All right.
So why don't we have, in this case, Tomos roll, or actually whoever wants to be the primary actor, you guys let me know. Only the primary actor will suffer the -3 to this roll.
Maybe since you got a little better on social skills, maybe you should do it.
I can take the primary role. Yeah.
All right, you take it.
If you wanted to switch approaches, you could also technically use empathy for an interrogation. If you wanted to try more of the good cop angle.
Well,
Oh,
whichever
come on.
skill's better
My
for you.
intimidation's better. Because of that car boost.
Sometimes it's better
Yeah.
to lead with the carrot, and sometimes it's better to drive with the stick. It's a question of perspective.
And other times it's better to just go with the most amount of dice you can get.
Yes.
Oh, so am I still taking -3?
You'll take a -3, yes, but you'll get to add any successes that Tomos gets as additional bonus die for you.
I think I will spend a point of willpower while we're doing this.
Sure.
Since I got it.
Headset died there. I guess Thomas, did you want to roll first then?
You roll. I think you should roll first because you're primary actor, right?
No, primary actor rolls last.
Secondary actor.
Oh,
goes
rolls
first.
last.
Yes, because your successes.
Yeah, because
get added
I get bonuses
bonus
from your
dice
successes.
to you.
All right, then let me just do that. Okay, but I don't suffer the -3.
No, you're
Myself,
just rolling
okay.
you're just rolling to assist.
Whopping 1 success.
Hey, that's still a bonus dice for this threat.
I got 2 successes.
2.
Man, those explosions didn't work too well.
Not too much in your favor, but nonetheless. So with that, 2 successes. The facade breaks. It or I should say cracks between the combined threat of the two of you. As the man, now coming fully to his senses, realizes that the two of you are most definitely not alive, not human, as the two of you are getting up close and personal with this man. And with that, you see the fear begin to work its way into this man's eyes. And again, you demand to know who he works for. And you manage.
Can I
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So, he's been he's talking back, right?
No, he's about to spill something. So,
Oh, okay. Never mind.
with the pressure from the two of you, he lets something slip. The identity of his employer. And the man speaks, but softly, almost murmuring it, and you push him to speak louder. And he gathers up a shred of courage, and he says, "The Cappadocian." And with that, we are going to take a little break here, and then we will hop back over to Seshet and see what's happening over in the harbor at Constantinople. So we will be back in just a couple minutes here. And we are back. So, switching here, we return to Seshet. And she had just arrived in Constantinople, having been ferried there alongside her new, barely clothed companion, Father John Tatzius. Now, when your ship, I should say the captain's ship, pulled into here, a great column jutting out of the water had identified this as the harbor of Eleutherios, and aside from the vessel that you find yourself on, countless others make their way in and out of this port, of all shapes and sizes, unloading and loading their cargo from lands scattered across the Mediterranean, the Black Sea. It's perhaps a wider range of nationalities and ethnicities than perhaps you've seen in the lifetimes that you've. This is truly a cosmopolitan city, if it can be said of any city of this era. And with that comes a certain uniqueness. The air is filled with a strange melange of aromas. You have this clashing of like exotic spices mixed in with the stench of fish and the briny air. And as the ship kind of pulls and moors into the harbor, your captain, Bacchus, as he fashions the ship to the dock, and his men begin to unload the contents of this merchant vessel. You see that Captain Bacchus is being questioned by this sort of aging Roman man in a kind of simple, kind of plain tunic, who's very carefully examining, scrutinizing the amphora, these containers, as they're being unloaded off of the captain's ship, that you see has been sort of etched into the side of the vessel. The captain has lovingly named the Bucephalus, and yes,
Alexander's horse.
Yes,
Bah!
Alexander the Great's horse, a truly mighty steed, as this is a truly mighty vessel of the captain. And Bacchus and his crew seem, well, particularly annoyed as this official just kind of hammers them with questions on the nature of their cargo, the members of their crew, how long they plan to stay in the capital. And your dear captain, Bacchus, does his best to endure the barrage of questions. And he finds momentary reprieve when he explains that he recalls that, oh yes, we've, aside from the crew here, we had picked up some shipwrecked folks off the island of Oexia. And the official kind of quizzically looks up, and he glances over in your direction. He observes you and your woefully underdressed priest beside you. And there's a flash of confused recognition in the man's eyes as they meet yours. And he kind of stops what he was doing, and he kind of shuffles over, making his way directly towards you, kind of hefting his codex and a quill in his hand. And his eyes kind of narrow as he meets your gaze. And the old man says, I am Anathasius, Quaesitor of this harbor. I require your name, your nation of origin, and the nature of your visit to Constantinople. If you come bearing any goods, you must declare them now, including any slaves. And she briefly glances at Father John Vatatzes. He looks at you
Pleasure.
expectantly with quill in hand.
Was it a slave or not? Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Vitalis. I am Sosette, and this is my companion, John. He is no slave. Now, one question at a time. What was the first one?
Yes.
Oh, Athanas. Anathas.
Athanasius. Yes, that is my name. My first question is your name.
I am Sosette. That is it.
He writes that down, scribbles it. His codex, and he seems fine enough with that answer. Your nation of origin. Where are you coming from?
Yeah, so I'd understand, like, I think we talked about this before, like, I'd understand that IRM's, like, Egypt now? Or Egypt's easy answer here?
Why don't we go with that academics roll? Let's see how... Do intelligence academics. We'll see how...
See what I remember.
how much you've kept up with history over your lifetimes.
7 successes.
Jesus! Exceptional success. 7
I
success.
can name at least 10 pharaohs of Egypt. Follow me.
Yeah, you've got some names, some places. Not only do you recall that you would likely be considered perhaps Egyptian in origin, as that is what they would call the desert that you had once called home, though in your tongue it was not Egypt, it was Kemet. But more than that, you recall a few cities of...
Yeah.
of
I imagine, like, the first one to pop to mind is Alexandria.
Yes, it would be a most fitting answer.
Yeah, I'm from Alexandria.
And once again, the Quaesitor, the scribe here, seems pleased with this answer, confirming perhaps his suspicions. And do you have any... Excuse me, I am getting ahead of myself. Your visit here to Constantinople, what brings you to the capital of the Roman Empire?
What do I want to tell this guy? I think I will go... I'll go with Providence. I was delivered here. By the winds of fate.
By the winds.
I think my
he kind
purpose
of
will make
like
itself known.
hesitantly like
Wait, fate? Question mark?
describes this like fate. I do not follow fate. Are you here for trade? Are you here for employment? What? I do not understand.
I'm looking for some long lost companions of mine.
Family, friends.
That is an appropriate term, yes.
Which? Family or friends?
Both.
Oh,
Friends, if you must.
friends. And she kind of looks at you quizzically.
Tick boxes.
Yes, and
Tick,
writes,
tick.
friends. How long do you plan to stay in Constantinople?
Perhaps a year?
And do you have gainful employment, or do you seek gainful employment?
I will find it soon enough.
Alright. And
Man.
see to that. Now, the manner of my last question. Goods. You mentioned you are here.
Yes.
A
Only.
visit of sorts, but are there any goods you bring with you that you wish to declare? No.
All I have is all you can see, and like it's pretty much just like I guess my clothes and this dedge that I have in my hand.
The Jed, yes.
Jed.
Yes, your small little crude pillar, as it were. And the Quaesitor, Athanasius kind of looks a bit quizzically at you coming here with basically just a set of clothes and a crudely carved pillar, as it were. And she kind of, writes down, nothing to declare, and you just kind of see the eyebrow raise. And with that, he kind of crosses off a few other boxes off of his codex. And Seshet, yes?
Yes.
You, I must admit, I am surprised. I was not expecting to see you in the city again.
I'm sorry. Have we met?
I not formally, as it were, but we had been in the similar circles. So, my duties as Quaesitor. I am familiar with you, at least, though. I'm not
sad
one.
to say that the familiarity extends only one way. But I wouldn't mind getting to know you more.
And he seems like genuinely confused at this proposition of like someone's actually asking like him question, and not like professional questions, but like personal details. And like this man, he's kind of got this his hair is graying, rather short, kind of starting to bald a bit. He's maybe in his 40s, pushing 50 perhaps. And you, I presume, are much younger.
I'm like late 20s.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, a much more youthful vitality, and you're inquiring to learn more about him. And
Oh, please.
the Athanasius looks a bit puzzled, and for once he kind of like draws a blank. Like, this isn't in his script. This isn't in the program. And
Yeah, I take advantage of like him being foisted into this unfamiliar situation. Like, come, let's leave this dock. And I like start like disembarking from like the ship and like trying to like, yep, come follow me. And basically try to like lead the situation here.
yeah, so you kind of do the come follow me. You disembark from the vessel and start walking, and Athanasius kind of hesitantly follows you, at first, reluctantly, as it were. It clearly becomes obvious that the further you are walking out, the more uncomfortable he's getting. And Athanasius,
He's like, my work.
Athanasius is like, excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I have other work here to do. I cannot leave the harbor.
I see. You're a hard-working man. But the harbor is fine. We can stay here.
That much I suppose I can undo for you. But questions.
Yeah.
Please.
So like, oh sorry. Yeah.
What is it that you wish to know? What can I, Athanasius, do?
Yeah. I look at his like his riding implements. I'm like, so what is it that you do here as a questor?
Yes.
What is your function?
I am Quaesitor of this harbor. I've been the power vested in me by His Imperial Majesty Justinian. I have been empowered to supervise the affairs of this harbor here, most notably the movement of people and goods, to ascertain data on immigration and those coming through our great city, as well as the many and multitudes of goods which make their way through our markets here. These things must be taxed appropriately, you understand. And
I like Susette's nodding along and like it's actually kind of genuine about it. It's like, oh yeah, like this is my kind of jam. Like
yes.
this is a nice functioning society with bureaucrats and taxmen and
Yes.
forms.
These things must be recorded and tracked, and ships searched for contraband, ensuring that goods that have been decreed not to leave or enter the city are kept as such. But more than that, I am empowered with certain duties given my position as Quaesitor. Certain crimes which fall under my jurisdiction within, well, my power to judge, shall we say. Certain matters such as forgery of documents for those trading in this harbor, for instance.
You have a very important job. The people around here must very much respect you.
Respect. I suppose you might call it that. There is a certain power within my position, though it is not earned me many, shall we say, amicable relations. Those I serve in my civic duties. I at least appreciate that some see value in my position.
Yeah, some people don't quite understand the importance of such things as a functioning bureaucracy. Tell me, I'm curious, what have you heard of me?
Well, I've heard a few things, but I must apologize. It's been some time. I almost didn't recognize you first, but I do recall in my younger days. What was it? Gosh, nearly a decade now, I think. you had caused quite a stir within the college school of law. There were many that did not think that a woman could serve as a jurist, but from what I heard, that fought a bit of an uphill battle, as it were. But your, shall we say, fiery words were enough to bend the will of some men. Thought to keep you within your place. But I did not expect to see you again after your work. Hebronian. I assumed, others, that you had fled the city into exile. Perhaps been killed during the riots. Roll a
Yeah, I'm like nodding along, but I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
yes, public opinion.
There's a college riots, like, oh yeah, all very bad times.
Yeah, all of this like coming at you and like you're like trying to piece these like things together. And, Athanasius is like, oh yes, you know, the public opinion turned, the crowds turned against those illegal reforms and those who authored them. And why don't you give me a memory roll? Let's see if any of that actually sticks.
One
A
success.
single success. You guys are doing pretty solid on your guys' memory rolls. So something about this this clicks in you. And you recall dimly working within the great library, as it were. And a man beside you in great finery, a rather ornately patterned tunic, and you had books upon books before the lot of you, spread out on a massive table, and each of them, shall we say, bits and pieces of a larger whole that you had aimed to construct. And you recall this man and the work that you did together briefly. And you don't quite remember what you had penned, but judging from Athanasius' description, some sort of legal reform, from the sounds of it. You don't remember the substance of what you had wrote, but you recall a certain emotional tenor to your conversation with this man, this Trebonian, and you recall a certain degree of respect and an admiration of a man who not just sought to reform the law, not merely to codify what is a crime and the punishments for it, but a concept almost alien to you of the law not just to punish, but to protect. An expansion of rights, not just for those with money and with power, but rights for women, slaves, for the law to protect instead of punish. And that was a new was not the way that things had always been.
Wild laws to protect people. Oh,
Yes.
basic human rights.
What
What a wild time we live in.
What a revolutionary.
Yeah.
That was not the way of the guild. Is that what you recall? Or at least what bits and pieces.
Do I recall where this? Oh, sorry.
You don't recall where this had occurred, but you gather from what dim recollections that you can. It must be some sort of great library, for there were volumes of tomes and scrolls at your disposal. But it is little more than that. It is a scene, a bubble within your memory, and the greater context outside of it is lost to you.
It's been some time since I've been to Constantinople. Could you direct me to the college?
I suppose I can. It hasn't changed. But yes.
Time makes fools of us all, doesn't it? Of memory.
I suppose as such. I like to believe I am quite skilled in my profession. In my age, things become, well, a bit fuzzier at times. Age tends to take the edge off the sharpest of minds. Not that I am the sharpest, mind you, but I aim to do a good job, and I am proud of it. But yes, a map you wish. And he kind of struggles with it a bit as he looks at his codex of the precious sheets that he has bound in this tome, and it almost pains him a bit as he writes some crude instructions on this paper, and he winces as he tears the sheet from the binding. It pains him to deface his codex in such a manner, to be so violent with his book. And nonetheless, he passes this off to you. And it's a decent map of the path you will take here. And Athanasius does his best to explain it to you. He's like, from, and kind of pointing with his quill on the sheet. He's like, yes, from here, from the harbor of Eleutherius, take the road here north to the Forum of the Ox, and follow the Meze to the east. And you won't be long before you come to the Augustion. And from there, it will be hard to miss.
Yes, I take the piece of paper, and thank you, Athanasius. You are a paragon of your work. And with that compliment, I want to use my inspiring merit to try and inspire him, just because I like rolling big dice balls.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. 4 successes. He gets the inspired condition.
And indeed, you leave Athanasius in an even better mood than he had before, because finally someone appreciates this man for his work that must be done for the lifeblood of this economy, for the city to function as it does. Such jobs. And
what?
To be appreciated has energized him as you shared some kind and affirming words Athanasius. And there's a perking up of the old man. A bit of youthful vitality kind of bubbles up under that graying hair and wrinkled skin. And a bit of that eagerness comes back to him. And he thanks you. Thank you profusely for your kind words. But if that is all, Miss Sasha, I have other ships that I must be attending to. You understand?
I understand. Go attend to your work.
Yes. Take care, Sasha. I wish you the best in your stay here in our great city. And with that, Athanasius turns, and almost like on a dime, you hear him shouting at like another vessel as it pulls into the harbor, demanding the attention of this vessel, and he begins barking the same questions that he had pestered you with to another unfortunate soul with newly empowered vigor, leaving you to devices. And with that, the harbor and the rest of the city open to you. A map to the library in your hands, and a vague recollection of a tomb somewhere within this city, somewhere within the Acropolis, I believe.
Yeah. A little bit torn between, do I want to chase after this, or do I want to check up on my tomb? I decide to head in the direction of my tomb.
Sure. Making your way. You follow his Athanasius's instructions. You make your way out from the harbor towards the Mese. This what you soon see is this great thoroughfare stretching through the city, and a magnificent sight that is. And Father John Vatatzis is close behind you, though clearly embarrassed by lack of modesty, as he's rather ill-clothed to be walking amongst the populace here. But he's a man of faith, and he has placed his faith within you.
Poor guy. What a fool.
Yes. And he follows you as you make your way through the Messe. In this grand thoroughfare, you make your way east towards the Augustio. And you can already see in the distance where this path is taking you. Towering above the other buildings is this great, magnificent dome reaching up into the heavens, seemingly almost like it's suspended from them.
Good dome.
Yes, hovering as if by its own volition. You'd be led to believe that something like this could not stand upon its own devices, and yet in defiance of seemingly natural law, here it is. Magnificent dome, a good dome, yes. But your eyes are drawn to more, say, earthly matters, as your senses assail you, sights and smells, as you make your way down the Mese. This is a market of sorts, a grand market. All along this stretch of road, there are stores pushing out into the streets, stalls, stands of all sorts of things. And There are brief forums where the meze kind of stretches out into a public area. More of these stalls and stands can be seen, and these great monuments, presumably of emperors past, adorning sort of center stage in these forums. But although your mind drags you towards the Acropolis, towards finding whom, more earthly senses drag you towards stalls, the sights, the smells. Everything you can imagine under the sun is being sold in this great bazaar. Oil, wine, salt fish, there's grain, silk and spices, incense, gold and timber, ceramics, linens, slaves and prostitutes abound walking up and down the streets. But more than that, the aroma of food, a sensation you half remember of smelling, of tasting, it comes back to you as these waves of aromas reach your withered nostrils. There's fish, fresh, pickled, salted, and you see the stands that have been laid out before you. These magnificent creatures. You have red mullet, monkfish, skate, stingray. There's salted roe, crabs, oysters, octopus, mussels, scallops, lobsters. But your eyes divert to another stand. There's cheese, there's garum, honey, olive oil, legumes of all kinds, butters, and crockery, storage jars containing vegetables freshly picked. There's dried fruits, raisins, prunes, dates, truffles, and yes, meat. Fresh meat, animals slaughtered right there at the market, the cuts being offered to people haggling for the choicest cuts of pork, of mutton, of beef, chickens, geese, blackbirds, partridges, goats, and more than that, more tempting, finished meals sold, ready to eat, sausages, bread, skewers of meat, sesame sweets, fritters drizzled with honey, and this luscious, savory smell of soup wafting through the air. And
You're making me really hungry.
as you're assailed with all these sights and smells, it reminds you of your living days. Not that you can recall, but you recall eating, you recall enjoyment of food, and scent tends to be such a powerful memory, and there is something enticing about it, though your dead flesh no longer needs to eat. The novelty of the experience calls to you, distracts you from your mission. But which call do you answer? The call of your mind? The call of your heart?
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, she's just gonna kind of stop still for like a little while and just like watch this whole like scene just like unfold out in front of her, and then kind of like oh yeah, I forgot people ate food. Yeah. And probably approach one of the fruit stalls or something, and just look at all the various fruits and berries and whatnot that are on display.
Yes.
And
yeah. You do. It is a shall we say a luxurious blend of fruits. Though you spy that they are charging an exorbitant price. Fresh fruit is most definitely a luxury, one to be enjoyed, by those that can afford the privilege of an orchard. Such delicacies are not often enjoyed by the common man. And your woefully empty pockets are
Why couldn't my cultist have buried me with some cash?
Is an unfortunate twist of fate that such delicacies are arrayed before you in such pleasing shapes and colors, yet have no coin well, I suppose you do have something to barter for it, though.
I don't think anybody wants my
it might be a hard sell for an antique such as your jet. But what you do with this as you wager your options, as you're drawn further into the realm of the living, as more and more sights and smells assail you, and your decree calls to you. The desire for novelty, for new experiences, to live and to feel again.
Yeah. If I wasn't such a stickler for upholding the rule of law, I'd just take what I'd want. Yeah, I think I've gotten a way, or have a way around such constraints, such as money here. I think I'm gonna unleash one of my utterances. Yeah, well, I mean, everything can be solved with magic, right?
This is true.
Gotta get in on it.
Do I want to go big or small? Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll go small. I'll keep it quiet for now. I'll unleash the first tier of Dreams of Dead Gods, with the task of bring me money.
Bring me money. Your commandment to fate. Give me money. Someone
Money, please.
out there. I need a lucky windfall. And so you do. And with that, we shall conclude things as calling upon the unholy powers you possess, given to you by your judges to fulfill their will. You bend those powers towards the acquisition of coin, towards money that you might buy succulent, sweet treat. Fill that void in. And with that, we shall end session 3, and we shall pick up next time as our interrogation continues and catch up with Vitalius and our strange new companion, Minervina, and see where Seshet ends up, perhaps reaching the shared tomb of our Moret of Mummies. But regardless of all that, how are you guys doing? How do your characters feel about the situation they find themselves in, and how are you guys feeling about the game so far?
I'm feeling pretty good. The first part was a bit slow for me, but it really picked up towards the end there. I don't know how many other my fellow players feel about that though.
How's what's going on for Seshet?
Yeah, I'm feeling good with the set. I was pretty certain I was going to go to the tomb, make my way towards the tomb, but now I've got this other side quest of check out what's happened at this college and this man called Piboni? No idea who he is. He's not important or anything, I'm pretty sure.
No. Yeah. Zevlus, Press, how are you guys feeling about characters, and how are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I've started my the beginnings of my takeover of the world.
Slowly but sure.
Just nobody knows yet. One follower at a time.
And Press, how's it going?
Feeling good. I definitely liked the. I think the situations Thomas was in, because I think that showed kind of his, true colors. I mean, I wasn't like
the darker side
hiding
starting to come
anything,
out. Yeah.
but now you see it on full display.
Yeah.
Ruthless. But yeah, I feel pretty good about what we've been doing.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me, and thanks everyone else who's tuned in to watch us today. Thank you again to Onyx Path for having us, and to Tabletop Audio for the background music. And other things going on that you guys should check out. There is a Changeling Lost one-shot that is on Sunday at 1 p.m. EST with Liam Conway of Twilight Network, so go check that out. There's also the Onyx Path Game Night on the last Friday of the month. And the big one right now is the Realms of Pugmire 2E. The Kickstarter is going on, so check that out if you haven't already. Thanks again, everyone, for being here with us today, and we hope to see you guys next time for Session 4. Have a good one.